My name is Marcus, and this is Growing Up Eberhart. This is my grandmother, and this is my grandfather. These two people birthed one of the shadiest, most disgustingest families you can ever be part of. I am the son of Barbara Eberhart and allegedly Clarence Finch. Who knows? I could be the rapist. Goddamn son. So, in this house, I grew up most of my life, from birth to 13, and the things I seen in this house, this family should be ashamed. But before we get into all that, I'm gonna say a few things. There's some people in my family I will not disrespect. I will not disrespect my Aunt Dot, my Aunt Lucy, my Aunt Irene, and my Aunt Carolyn. I don't know if I'm forgetting somebody. No, I'm not forgetting my Aunt Joanne. Fuck that bitch. Uh, I will not disrespect any of my aunts because at the end of the day, they was always there for me and my mother. Um, my brothers and sisters, they may not remember, but we bounced around a lot growing up. And we was either at my aunt's house, one of my aunt's houses, or one of my mom's friend's house. You know, one place that we stayed growing up was Stephanie Chase's house. She took us in at one time. She was a great friend to my mom's, and she was also my uncle's baby mother. Um, you know, I'm freestyling this. I don't write out shit. I don't plan out shit. I pull it off of my brain. So you know how intelligent I am. So in 22 Brigham Street, that was the house of horror. People was raped in that house. People was molested in that house. And no one cared. No one did shit. This video is mainly about my Uncle Frank. So, give me a second. Let's pull up some things and let's see. This is Uncle Frank, right? Uncle Frank was raping his own sister, and the family knew about it, and they ain't do nothing. So that make people like Clarence, Danny, who else? Clarence, Danny. I'm not going to disrespect my Uncle Randy. My Uncle Randy was treated like shit. So you got Clarence, Danny, Uncle Will. I feel like I'm forgetting a few uncles, but you know, all my uncles was scumbag pieces of shit. Why? Because y'all let this man right here, y'all brother, rape and pillage y'all family, and y'all didn't do shit about it. And he went on to murder a woman. So this whole family has blood on y'all hands, because if y'all would have had this nigga locked up when he was raping his own sister and y'all did nothing about it, he would have never raped or killed this lady. I don't know if he raped her, but he strangled her to death. He would have never did that had y'all put him in prison. And right now, he's out on parole. If y'all would have had this man locked up when he was a child raping his family members, he would never be out to this day. You know, it's crazy how y'all let that shit happen and y'all still fuck with this nigga. He would be an outcast. I would want nothing to do with this man. He is a scumbag. He raped his own sisters. From what I'm gathering, nieces and maybe great nieces. And then in that house on 22 Brigham Street, I had 3 babysitters and they all tried to have sex with me. Every single one of them. So if you grew up in the Eberhart family, you know who my babysitters is. 2 females and 1 male. And they all had tried to have sex with me. And I'm trying to figure out, were they touched? Were they raped? Were they molested? I even had a stupid, bald-headed, got no brains family member try to justify, oh, y'all were only 2 years apart because it's her sister. A person put in charge having sex with a minor, no matter how you put it, that's rape. No matter how you put it. And your relatives, that's not cool. That's not okay. If I caught my kids fucking around with one of their cousins, I'm gonna beat the shit out of them and their cousin. I'm not gonna justify it because I'm fucking mentally retarded and my mom was a fucking crack pot by saying, oh, y'all was only a couple years apart. Bitch, that doesn't make no fucking sense. And that shows you part of this family, you part of this clan, and you a devil. But enough of me going back and forth and talking about who is who and who is that. My grandmother and grandfather birthed this fucking piece of shit scumbag Frank Eberhart. Like growing up in that crib, I seen a lot of things. I seen my Uncle Frank beat my Uncle Randy with a shovel for no reason. And there was no one there to stop it. Just me and my grandmother. So he basically beat Uncle Randy with that shovel as long as he wanted. And my grandmother called all her sons, Danny, Clarence, William. She called them all. And they did shit. You know why? Because they was bitch-ass niggas. They wasn't men. They didn't have big enough fucking balls to do what it do to protect and save their family. But you may say, oh, Marcus, why you doing these videos? Because motherfuckers in the Eberhart family try to shit on my name like I was the scumbag. But now I gotta tell about they uncles. Now I gotta tell about how their daddy was fucking gay out here with crackheads, buying crackheads crack, running around hotel rooms naked. Now I gotta put all this shit out here because that's one thing I don't like. I grew up respectful. I grew up doing shit the right way. And when I say the right way, I never disrespected my family. My family was heroes to me. I looked up to my cousins. But they tried to slay me. They tried to disrespect me. And that's okay. Because when I'm done with Frank, I'm going to go directly to their family. I'm going to tell them how their sister's husbands is cheating and they gay. I'm going to tell how their sisters was molesting and out here trying to kill people and domestic violence. All the things they try to put on me. They try to say I do drugs, but they got siblings that's dead from using drugs. They got 2 brothers and a sister that was a junkie. I don't know where she at. Is she dead too? But that's not their time. We talking about Frank. Let's get into it. My uncle, possibly a serial killer, because there was a lot of murders back in the day that's unsolved in my grandmother's neighborhood. And who knows? Frank might have did it. You know, there's people that Frank dated. Frank dated a lady that lived across from us named Debbie. And he used to beat the shit out of Debbie. Probably was molesting Debbie's kids. And as far as I know, they left, supposedly moved to Florida with Uncle Frank, and we ain't never seen them again. How I know Deb and her kids ain't dead? I don't know that. If you know where Deb and her kids at, please tell her to reach out to me. I would love to interview her about all the shit she went through with Frank. So let's get right into it. So, Lowell police knew both Janice Ellis and her accused killer Frank Eberhart very well. What remains clear, Middlesex District Attorney Martha Coakley said yesterday is when they met and what led Eberhart to strangle Ellis to death early Sunday morning after an apparently drugged haze night. Coakley and police are calling it murder, but Eberhart told police the death was an accident and that he was trying to defend himself from a knife welding Ellis, according to court documents. So, Uncle Frank, you was defending yourself? Was you defending yourself when you was raping your sister and your nieces? And from the conversation I had with one of my little cousins, your great nieces, was you defending yourself then? When you beat the shit out of your brother, Randy for no reason on 22 Brigham Street. Is that how you justify it? You was defending yourself? Let me tell you about Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank used to rob niggas, drug dealers and steal coke from them and do shit like that. But see, as a kid, I never in my life felt Frank. I just didn't like him. I never felt him. And then as I grew up, I started hearing the stories. And I was always smart. When I first started hustling, of course, I used to hide it from my uncles and shit. Then after a while, they would come to me and be like, yo, nephew, you got it. I know you hustling, man. I ain't gonna say nothing to your moms. I know you hustling. And I used to serve all my uncles. But when Uncle Frank used to come, he used to be like, nephew, man, I know you hustling. I used to be like, nah, not me, Unc. Not me. And I used to be like, if I had it, nigga, I would give it to you. But no, it was just always bad vibes. I never liked the nigga, so I never served the nigga because I wouldn't get a nigga the opportunity to rob me. But I do know Rapist Street niggas that he did rob. But anyway, let's get back to this. Ellis' naked body was found wrapped in a blanket behind row houses in the city's Acre section. Thursday afternoon, Eberhart, 50, was charged with first-degree murder after allegedly confessing to police early yesterday morning. He is being held without bail following his arraignment in Lowell District Court yesterday. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner was expected to complete Ellis' autopsy yesterday, but results were not immediately available. Eberhart told police that he met Ellis, 42, last week and that they smoked crack together at his apartment on the third floor of 8 Bauer Street, according to court documents. After trying unsuccessfully to purchase cocaine nearby, they returned to his apartment and started fighting over an item that Janice tries to pass off as crack cocaine, a report notes. According to Eberhart, Ellis then took off her clothing and solicited him with sex, which he said he refused. They continued arguing, and Ellis, who was still naked, then pulled out a large butcher type knife and pointed at him, the report says. But Ellis did not attempt to stab him, Assistant District Attorney Kevin Rao said in court yesterday. Eberhart allegedly told police he grabbed Ellis's wrist with one hand at that point and strangled her with the other hand. Eberhart then said he panicked and covered her naked body with a blanket on his bed, where the body allegedly remained until he carried it out to the walkway behind the building on Thursday. Eberhart had been questioned at the police station on Thursday night, but was released after saying he had dropped off Ellis at a house and had not seen her since. Police saw him next yesterday morning as they were executing a search warrant at his apartment. At that point, he confessed to an officer, police said, and was taken into custody. The search produced abundant forensic evidence. Police Superintendent Edward Davis said Eberhart was subdued as he sat in a wheelchair during his arraignment. Throughout the proceedings, he rested his head in his hands and kept his eyes closed. That's this picture right here. Niggas want to act like they fucked up after they get caught. Niggas want to act like they on some drugs that the state gave them after they get caught. No, you just a caged animal. And you don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? You used to being free and doing what you want. You used to out here raping bitches and killing bitches and choking bitches and doing everything you want. Nah, nigga, they got you. When asked after the arraignment why his client was in a wheelchair, defense attorney Bill White said Eberhart hadn't slept in the last couple of days. He also said that Eberhart, who served in the Army from 1976 to 1993, has some history of mental illness. Yeah, he got a lot of history of mental illness if you out here raping your sisters and your family members. Eberhart, a father of 2, moved to Lowell about 2 years ago after having resided in Worcester in Florida, Davis said. He is originally from Georgia. He has a criminal record with a history of violence, Coakley said. The murder does not come as a total surprise, he said, but it's certainly the first time he has been allegedly in this kind of serious trouble. Yeah, this is the first time he was in this type of trouble because his bitch-ass family members and his bitch-ass brothers and his sorry ass mama, which I love because she my grandmother. She never did nothing to me and protected me, but they protected him. You know what I'm saying? They let him roam free and do this. When they knew this man was raping his sister, they knew that. From what I said, from what I learned and heard over my years, when it was found out that he was raping his sister, they moved his sister up in the attic with him. So basically, he can rape her more without any interference. Why? Because I believe everybody in the Eberhart family was scared of Frank. That's what I believe. But back to the story. The murder does not come as a total surprise, she said, but it's certainly the first time he had been allegedly in this kind of serious trouble. Now, remember, they just said he was in the army from 1976 to 1993. This man probably been choking bitches and raping bitches around the world. We don't know. And if you look in my grandmother's neighborhood after 93, and some of the time in between 76 and 93, there's unsolved murders. He was coming back from the army every chance he get. There's unsolved murders. He could have did that. He could have had a fetish for murder. Ellis, who was homeless, was also known to police, which helped them quickly identify the body, Coakley said. The Sun has learned that Ellis had been arrested multiple times on charges ranging from alcohol-related offenses to assault and battery on a police officer. Ellis was also known to police as a prostitute. In fact, a fact that Coakley yesterday refused to confirm. Although she said Ellis obviously made some of her living on the street, a woman who said she was close to Eberhart yesterday, she said she was shocked by the murder allegations despite her knowing his drug addict. Bitch, you was shocked? Who the fuck is you? You must only knew him for 2 weeks. This is right up his motherfucking alley, and I believe the Springfield police should look into some of these unsolved murders around my grandmother's house, and you might get this nigga. He seemed like a normal guy. Nothing about this piece of shit scumbag was normal. I'm sorry to tell you that. He didn't seem like he could hurt a fly, said the woman who wished to remain anonymous. I don't even think he had a violent bone in his body. Bitch, you smoking crack. I promise you, this nigga was nothing but violence. Me, Marcus Eberhart, seen his violence with these two eyes right here, bitch. I should poke him out for all the shit I seen that man do and for all the shit I know he did. Eberhart is due back in court on June 5th for probable cause. Ellis' murder was the third and low this year. So, let's go over here. Let me show you who Ellis is, right?
Just get the fuck out of my life!
Lowell became the world's largest producer of cotton textile, the first planned industrial city in the United States.
Knock. Show where's man.
This piece of machinery is what made Lowell.
Sometimes my computer drives me crazy because just yesterday I can blow this video up, but all of a sudden today I can't blow it up. Here we go. What the fuck?
The one in the corner so cracked. 3 more crack overs down here. The ones that all boiled up.
This is a documentary about people smoking crack in Lowell, Mass. It's an interesting documentary because one of the dudes on here is named Dickie, and he actually was a great boxer. He was Mickey Ward's brother, and he was actually a great boxer, and he boxed he boxed Sugar Ray Leonard, but he fell victim to crack, and that was all thrown out the window.
The mills moved down south around the early 1920s and started emptying the city out.
Make it back. Can I get 5 for 40? Give me a deal, man. I've been buying all day. Huh? Maybe you want to trade, too. Want a camcorder, man? I want 5. Come on, man. I've been buying all day. Yeah. Huh? 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to buy a camera? Camcorder? Camcorder? You want to buy a camcorder? Crack cocaine? Get the pipes out.
Pipes out. Pipes out.
Sure. Got it.
We have no asses.
Yes, we do. I get ashes.
Oh, we're stuck. All right, you're stuck too. Light it, man, light it.
That's Dickie right there. That's the guy who was a great boxer, and he boxed Sugar Ray Leonard, and he fell victim to crack and threw all his success away. Now you see her over here? This lady sitting on the edge of the couch? That's Janice. That's the lady your Uncle Frank killed to the Eberhart family and to his kids. That's the lady he killed. She was a human. Yeah, she smoked crack. But she didn't deserve to meet a monster who killed her. A monster who had previously raped his siblings, maybe his nieces, and maybe some of his nephews too. And who knows, maybe he killed other people and got away with it. Because I seen him be violent. I seen him beat his brothers. I seen him beat women. He was a scumbag piece of shit.
Jen, did you lock that door?
No, she's not come back in. That should be shut too.
How many times a day do you smoke?
As often as I can.
Eberhart family, you see her? She was over here with the green bottle. That's who Frank killed. She was a human being, and she deserved to live. And had y'all stopped this man when he was raping his siblings and terrorizing his family, maybe she would be alive. Maybe she would have had the opportunity to clean herself up and not die a drug user. But you, the Eberhart family, Danny, Clarence, William, and my aunts too. I love y'all to death, but none of y'all reported this man. She didn't have a chance to turn her life around. He played judge, executioner, and jury. He didn't have the right to do that. And you, the Eberhart family, all I feel should be punished. And that's why I'm doing this documentary. And that's why I'm going to tell all the business. Because y'all all sat back when motherfuckers slandered me. When y'all know I'm the fucking golden child of this motherfucking family. I'm the only motherfucker that's respectful in this family. I'm the only motherfucker that ain't do drugs in this family. Let's be honest. Let's talk about that.
Go after my shit.
He almost burnt his face off. But I'm playing this because she's going to make a statement. Not Janice, but the other one. But it's a serious statement that I want you to understand.
Let's try to hurt your pride.
It ruins lives though, yeah? It ruins everyone's life. Nobody can handle it.
Then why do you do it?
I love it. More than anything. More than life itself, you know? But yet I hate it worse than anything. I wish I could wipe it off the face of the earth. It's the devil. It's the devil, it's that.
It's the devil. You know, she said the drug is the devil. And 6 months after this video, her friend met the devil. And his name was Frank Eberhart. And he took her fucking life. That's why I wanted to keep playing that. But if you want to go watch that documentary, it's called High on Crack Street. Look it up. But let's get back to old Frank. Let's get back to Frank. You know? Because there's more about Frank, folks. You know? It's crazy how people could be stopped in the early stages, but, you know, for some reason, we feel we gotta protect these monsters, man. Look, these is all of him. I don't even know which one to click on. He strangled her. Man indicted for murder. Man suspected of dumping body held without bail. Testimony in Eberhart murder trial continues. As witness recounted smoking crack cocaine on the night Janice was allegedly murdered. Ellis, Terry's mother, was led out of the courtroom by a family. It is extremely difficult, said Deborah Strickland, Ellis's sister. It's been a very long year. Inside Lowell Superior Court today, a jury deciding the fate of 50-year-old Frank Eberhart, charged with strangling Ellis and dumping her naked body in Barrow Street alley. Listen to three men revisit the night of May 7, 2006, when Ellis joined them for a party at 6 Barrow Street. It was the last time she was seen alive. Forensic scientist John Searles is suspected to deliver key pieces of physical evidence linking Eberhart with the alleged murder tomorrow. You know, so why doesn't it go back to my search? Here we go. New evidence leaks Ellis to Eberhart's lane. Past the yellow police tape, detectives scribbling notes and flashing cameras. A strong order of bleach filled the third-floor apartment on Power Street. A bottle of Clorox sat at the kitchen floor outside Frank Eberhart's bedroom. Inside the bedroom, John Searles told jurors yesterday that the mattress immediately caught his eye. It was faded and stunk of bleach, but it was a stench that jumped out, the stitching that jumped out. The pattern on the victim's body matched the pattern on the mattress, said Searles, a forensic scientist for the state believed. Wearing white latex glove, prosecutor Kevin Rao reached into a brown bag marked evidence. He pulled out a blue and white mattress covered with spade-shaped stitching, the same print embedded across Jenna Ellis' torso the day her body was found wrapped in a blanket abandoned in the alley between Bowers and Salem Streets. Another day of testimony in the Frank Eberhart murder trial at Lowell Superior Court and introduced new evidence linking Eberhart to the death of 42-year-old Ellis. Police and forensic scientists combed through Eberhart's bedroom on May 11, 2006, seizing several items including a woman's purse, a blue rope tied off like a noose, Ellis's cell phone, her mass health card, and a black leather pants she wore the last time she was seen alive. Pillows and sheets on the floor of the room were stained with blood, Searles said. On the back porch, an oriental rug, still wet, lay draped over the railing. A bucket filled with bleach and a mop sat beside it. The head of the mop had several hairs in it, Searles said. Eberhart allegedly told police Ellis' death was an accident, that he was trying to defend himself from Ellis, who was wielding a large butcher-type knife after the two argued over drugs. On the night of May 7, 2006, Ellis met several men entering a home on Barrow Street and joined them for a party. After the crack cocaine ran out, the party was over and Ellis and Eberhart were seen on surveillance tape ringing doorbells at a local building in search of more drugs. In the videotape statement to police, Eberhart said that while the two were in his bedroom, Ellis offered him something she tried to pass off as crack. Taking off her clothes, she then solicited him for sex, which he refused. The couple began arguing, and Ellis, who was naked, pulled out a knife, Eberhart said. So, y'all went out looking for crack. Then you claim y'all came back because y'all didn't find no crack. Then you claim, nigga, you came back and she tried to give you something that was crack. That she tried to claim was crack. Well, if y'all didn't find no crack, how can she give you some crack, bro? That story don't even add up. And then, after she tried to give you some crack, she just tried to give you some pussy, nigga? Oh, I gave him some fake crack, so I should give him some pussy, nigga. Nigga, that shit don't make sense. And anybody that believed that shit was dumb as fuck. Clearly the jury didn't believe it. Clearly the police didn't believe it. Eberhart allegedly told police he grabbed Ellis' wrist with one hand and choked her into unconsciousness with the other. But she stopped breathing and died. Riley previously told the jury that Ellis' body remained on Eberhart's bed for 4 days. This sick motherfucker left the bitch in his bed for 4 days. You think he ain't fucked that body? He fucked that body. That's what niggas like him do. With his roommate coming home from the hospital on May 11th, Eberhart had to act fast, Riley said. So Eberhart wrapped Ellis' naked body with a blanket from the bed, carried her out his bedroom, and left her in the adjacent alley, Riley said. Defense attorney William White Jr. has said Eberhart, who served in the U.S. Army from 1976, has some history of mental illness. After an autopsy, the state chief medical examiner ruled Ellis' death a homicide. Source said a sexual assault kit submitted into evidence tested positive for semen. Like I said, he was fucking the dead body because he a sick motherfucker. But how do niggas like this get out on parole? The parole system is broken. You just let anybody out. A nigga with his type of violence, a nigga with his type of history, they gonna do that shit again. They gonna do that shit again. Judge denies bid to lessen murder charge. Judge denies bid to lessen murder charge. Let's get to it. Eberhart convicted the second. After deliberating for 4 hours, the jury today found Frank Eberhart guilty of second-degree murder. Today, lessening the charge initially filed against him. Eberhart was indicted on his first-degree murder charges for strangling 42-year-old Janice and dumping her body in an alley off of Bauer Street in May. Eberhart, who told police Ellis' death was an accident, that he strangled her in self-defense, a first-degree murder conviction would have put Eberhart in prison for life without parole. The second-degree conviction means Eberhart was spending life in prison with a chance of parole after 15 years. I don't get this jury's decision. But I get it. Y'all didn't know about his past violence. Y'all didn't know about his past history. Showing a police photo of Janice Ellis' body wrapped in a blanket and lying on it. Bauer Street alley told jurors and Laura that this morning that her assailant, Frank Eberhart, actually said it best. Everything everybody doesn't want, they throw in the back of the building. That's his statement. He said, everything everybody doesn't want, they throw in the back of the building. Quoting Eberhart, like so much trash. Janice Ellis landed in the back of the alley in the early morning hours of May 11, 2006. This was no accident. This was murder. After lawyers delivered closing arguments this morning around 11 a.m., the fate of Eberhart, 51, accused of strangling 42-year-old, is now in the hands of a jury. Eberhart told police that Ellis' death was an accident in a videotape confession. Eberhart said he was trying to defend himself from Ellis, who came at him with a large butcher-type knife after two argued over a jug. No knife was ever recovered from the scene, but defense attorney William White Jr. argued that Ellis had a history of violent run-ins with local police. White also said abrasions on Ellis' right wrist supported Eberhart's statement that he grabbed Ellis' wrist with one hand and strangled her with the other. The jury is expected to deliver the verdict on Eberhart, who has been charged with first-degree murder sometime this afternoon. Low man guilty of murder. Again, he showed the photo since the murder trial began last week, as the image jury knew well. Frank Eberhart told police Ellis' death was an accident. No, it wasn't. It wasn't an accident when you was raping your sisters and their kids. a beautiful soul. Janice Ellis expressed herself through black clothing and tattoos. Her unusual style caused many to prejudice her on sight, said prosecutor Kevin Rao. But if you look beyond Ellis's black leather and body art, family members said you see a woman who was playful, had a heart of gold, and then she laughed, wore that heart on her face. In Lowell Superior Court yesterday, Judge Paul sentenced 51-year-old Frank Eberhart, charged with murdering Ellis to life in prison with a chance of parole after 15 years. Eberhart was originally charged with first-degree murder after a jury found him guilty Tuesday of second-degree murder. Ellis' family said in a pre-prepared statement yesterday that they were shocked with the verdict, believing they was overwhelming Ellis against Eberhart. Ellis' family pleaded for murder in the first degree, which would have come with a sentence to life without imprisonment. The details were gruesome. The images were horrific. We're living a nightmare in court for the past 5 days, drained Ellis' family, leaving them red-eyed and exhausted. They also asked the riot to read their statement to the court. Ellis' sister, Marcy Huey of Lowell, was the only relative who turned out yesterday. She tried to hold back tears. It was extremely difficult to sit and listen while our murdered loved one was referred to as a cocaine addict or a prostitute based on her choice to wear black clothing, which was never revealing. From cocaine addict to prostitute, we sat silently in anguish. I was dying inside, afraid to show emotion and fear of being accused of prejudice. The jury, all we could do was silently pray for just punishment. Ellis, the family reminded, was a daughter, a mother, and a grandmother. She was a sister and an aunt. Our prayers will be that Frank Eberhart will never be free to walk the streets and take the life of another one. Rao said, we pray Frank Eberhart never forgets Janice Ellis. Hunching forward in his chair, Eberhart sat still and listened. Hands folded in prayer position, he tucked them under his chin. It's been more than a year since Eberhart confessed to accidentally stringing Ellis' death and dumping her body in a Powell Street in the early mornings of May 7, 2006, after a night of smoking crack cocaine. Eberhart told police him and Ellis began arguing. She tried giving him fake crack. Eberhart said Ellis then took her clothes off and solicited him for sex, which he refused. But there was semen in the body. You was fucking the bitch, nigga. Fuck you talking about? Was you fucking her after you killed her, nigga? Ellis was still naked when she took a large butcher knife out of her purse and pointed at him, Eberhart said. So he grabbed her wrist with one hand and her throat with the other hand and squeezed. She just stopped breathing and died, he said. Eberhart left Ellis naked on his bed for 4 days. Only when he learned that his roommate was coming home from the hospital did a panicked Eberhart wrap Ellis' body up in a blanket, dump it in the alley next to his apartment building. When police found the body, the stitching on Eberhart's mattress was embedded across Ellis' torso. William White Jr., Eberhart's attorney, said yesterday that ever since that fateful night, Eberhart has assessed his life and what brought him to this day. The man, you assessed his life. Did you talk about his sister, he raped, and possibly, I don't know, but I don't talk to some little cousins and other people. I think he got other people in the family. I seen him beat the shit out of my Uncle Randy with a shovel on top of them stairs on 22 Brigham Street. I seen it. I know. I was there. This man also has family who supported him, White said. A father or two, Eberhart moved to Eberhart. Who was supporting this nigga? Y'all support this nigga? If you were Eberhart and you support this nigga, fuck you. Fuck your mama, fuck your daddy, and everything you love. This nigga's a scumbag piece of shit that was raping his family members. And if you motherfuckers in the Eberhart family would have sent him to jail, then he probably wouldn't have murdered this lady. A woman close to Eberhart previously told a Sun reporter that despite his drug habit, she was shocked by murder allegations. I wish she'd get out and meet you again and choke the shit out of you for even saying that. He seemed like a normal guy. He didn't seem like he could hurt a fly. Little did she know he was raping his family members and all type of shit. White said Eberhart is an Army veteran. So fucking what? We don't give a fuck. He an Army vet. He a fucking rapist and a murderer. Although White said the murder was in self-defense, no knife was ever recovered from the crime scene. DNA tests also show Eberhart's semen was present in the deceased, contradicting his story. Ellis's family said they still tormented by unanswered questions. Why could she not fight back? What did Eberhart do to silence her cries while he continued to beat her from head to toe? Was rape the reason for her death? Whatever happened in Eberhart's bedroom, only 2 people will ever know, and one is gone forever. A beautiful soul. Eberhart will be 66 by the time he becomes eligible for parole, said Rao. The prosecution, the family of Janice Ellis, vowed to attend all parole hearings to keep Eberhart in jail. And that family did everything they said they was going to do to keep this piece of shit scumbag in jail, right? The Eberhart family didn't do everything they should have did. The Eberhart family should have been in court fucking telling them his history, telling them what he was doing to his siblings so he can get 100 motherfucking years. But y'all didn't. Danny, you a pussy ass nigga. William Eberhart, you a pussy ass nigga. Clarence Eberhart, you a pussy ass nigga. And I know I'm forgetting a lot of other people. And I'm sorry to say to all my aunts, y'all sorry too. Y'all sorry too. Especially, my Aunt Joanne was still writing this nigga, going to visit this nigga, taking his call. You a sorry, silly bitch. But, unfortunately for Ellis's family, Frank was granted parole, right? These people right here, participating board members. Tina Hurley, you a piece of shit. Dr. Charlene Boner, you a piece of shit. Tony Me Coleman, you a piece of shit. Dr. Marianne Galvin, you a piece of shit. James Calcourse, you a piece of shit. And Colette Santa, you a piece of shit. Why? Because y'all all was on this board and y'all let this man pull the wool over y'all eyes and y'all gave him parole. This man has a history of violence and raping his own siblings and y'all gave him parole. So y'all pieces of shit. If you watching this video and you know any of these people, please tell them to watch this video. Please tell them I said they're a piece of shit and they should die horribly. They should be choked out and killed by a nigga like Frank. Because this is what the parole board, you've letting niggas like this out. You scum. On June 19, 2007, after jury trial in Middlesex Superior Court, Frank Eberhart was convicted of lesser-included offenses of second-degree murder and the death of 42-year-old Ellis and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Mr. Eberhart appeared before the parole board for reviewing hearing on October 25, 2022. He was represented by attorney Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly, fuck your mother, and I hope she gets choked out by a nigga like Frank Eberhart. Mr. Eberhart was denied parole in his 2021 initial hearing. The entire video recorded of Mr. Eberhart's October 25th, 2022 hearing is fully incorporated by reference to the board's decision. After carefully considering all relevant facts, including the nature of the underlying offense, the age of the inmate at the time of the offense, criminal record, institutional record, the inmate's testimony at the hearing, and the views of the public as expressed at the hearing or in written submissions to the board, we conclude by unanimous vote that the inmate is suitable candidate for parole. So unanimous, every one of you scumbags, let this nigga out. Every one of y'all. So what I say, fuck your mama, fuck your daddy, and fuck your kids, and fuck everything y'all love. Y'all letting people out like this, you don't deserve to be on the parole board. You don't deserve to be on the parole board. Reserved to the Veterans Administration on May 7, 2006, 50-year-old Mr. Eberhart strangled 42-year-old Janice Ellis to death. Mr. Eberhart accepts full responsibility for the murder. Yeah, because he done got away with a bunch of other shit. He he has had an overall positive adjustment with his last disciplinary report in 2012. He has been sober throughout his incarceration. He currently resides in the RTU and has demonstrated compliance with treatment. Mr. Eberhart has shown that he has gained insight into the causative factors of his crime, including major mental illness and substance abuse. Mr. Eberhart has identified the VA as part of his parole plan, which can address his mental needs in a residential setting. Mr. Eberhart suffers from multiple medical issues. The board urges Mr. Eberhart to remain compliant with all mental health provider recommendations. The applicable standard use by the board to assess a candidate for parole is parole board members should only grant a parole permit if they are of the opinion that there is a reasonable probability that if such offender is released, the offender will live and remain at liberty without violating the law and release not incompatible with the welfare of society. In forming this opinion, the board has taken into consideration Mr. Eberhart's institutional behavior, as well as participation in available work, educational, and the treatment programs during the period of his incarceration. The board has also considered the risk and needs assessment and whether risk reduction programs could effectively minimize Mr. Eberhart's risk of recidivism. Applying this standard to the circumstances of Mr. Eberhart's case, the board is of the unanimous opinion that Frank Eberhart is rehabilitated and therefore merits parole at this time. How can a nigga who raped his siblings, right? His siblings' kids possibly murdered other people, beat many women, beat his own brother with a shovel, did other shit to his other family members. How could you come to the conclusion this man is rehabilitated? This man ain't rehabilitated. I'ma prove it. Because him or somebody gonna kill me. Because I'm out here exposing the fake. Because I am the real and I'm tired of it. So there you have it. Frank Eberhart, the piece of shit rapist of his family members. He killed this lady. And I'm here to tell you, if you a Eberhart and you still support this nigga, you a scumbag piece of shit. And I hope the worst for you and everything you motherfucking love. And like I say, my name is Marcus, and this is Growing Up Eberhart, and I'm not done. I got more stories. I got more people to talk about, more cases to show you. I'm going to show you how my cousin, tried to kill her lover, but then her sister said, I'm a domestic violence motherfucker, like her sister ain't. Her sister tried to say, I was a junkie. I ain't never did drugs in my life. But her sibling's dead from drugs. Her sister was a junkie. Yeah, we gonna get to all that. But like I say over here, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. And if you out here supporting men like Frank Eberhart and you think he cool and you think he deserves parole, cut the shit. That part.